an API. So let me start by sharing my screen so you will better understand that. So online, we have a lot of data that some museums are sharing with us. So that's a great thing. And why not trying to use that to use our devices as a frame to display some art. So that's the goal. That's the goal for today. This is one of the API available. That's one from the Paris Musée de Paris, Paris Museum. But today we are going to use the MET one. And so this one is basically the same thing as the way it works. It works the same way that the one they are using on their website, basically. So you can do a search, or you can also search all the collection and add some filter to it. And then from that, we'll have some results. So for today's project, we are going to look for European paintings and canvas, and that will be the main goal. And from that, we will speak out the artist name, some information about the painting, and we will display that on a screen with the help of some APL. So let's dive in. That's a fresh one. And we will add some color and optimize that all together today. And but first, let's look at the API. So the main thing we want here is to grab the result from the search, and the search look like that. So as for all the API, we have an endpoint, and this endpoint needs some param, and the param are, so department ID, that's the information that you can grab again from the API documentation. But when you make a call for, instead of a search, you make a call for the all the department available, you will have access to a list of department as well as the corresponding name. And the 11th one is the European painting. You can search for a photo, for example, or whatever category you want, or department, actually. As image, that's an important one because obviously we don't want to use any item that don't have any images to show. And Q is the query, but we are not really searching for something. We are using the asterisk. But of course, you can also use that with some, or basically we can add a search method or a search flow to search for Vincent van Gogh or Manet, whatever name you want. You can also search for objects in the paint. So for example, flower, that will also work. But again, for today, we are basically just grabbing all the item, all the available art from the collection, and the collection department will be 11. Again, this is the European painting collection. So let's have a look by doing a quick test here. So total more than 2,200. So that will be interesting, as we want to use the device as a frame. So if we can have multiple paintings shown here, it will be great, which is the case. Let's see how it's populated. So what we have is just an array of multiple answer. And these are actually all the item ID. And we will need those ID to retrieve the item or the arts information. So that's the first step, grabbing this and dealing with the information we can have on each of those with all of those IDs. So the thing is here, how are we going to grab like more than 2,000 IDs? We are not, I mean, it will not be a good solution to basically map all the ID. We can, I mean, we can do it. We can do, for example, if we want the 10 first result, we can click here to get the pass. In the transform into variable, we can add this pass, so that will be 0. We create a variable for that one, so like object 0, and then we will go for 1, object 1. Each time we will add a new mapping. But that can be such a pain if we want to deal with 2,000, more than 2,000 items. So instead of doing this, what we are going to do is mapping the full response, and this is what we are doing. Just remember that from the response, we have total as well as object IDs. So we want that pass object IDs, and we will also use the total. So that's all what we need right now. So again, instead of mapping all the subpass of the object, we are mapping response.object IDs to that variable. And that variable behind the scene will be an array instead of just a string or an integer. Response total, again, that's the total number of items that are available. And we are mapping that to the total variable. So from that, we are just checking that we have a total that is higher than 0. So at least we got some item to deal with. If it's the case, we are going to the next API call. And the next API call, we are using a quick trick here. So that's a random expression. Not a random expression, that's an advanced expression, sorry, in the set block, but we are using the random ID. So that's a variable we've created, random ID. And we are going to populate that variable with object ID. And we have here the array number. So to get that, what we need? Well, we need to grab a random item from 0 to more than 2,000. And we know that number because we're also grabbing the total. So basically, we want to grab an item between 0 and the total. Should be total -1, actually. But yeah, so this. And this little thing is a function. So that's a built-in function if you want. So we are using the math.js script available, and this will generate a random from 0 because we are not setting a minimum value. You can set min, comma, max, but as we are not setting a minimum value, the minimum value will be 0 by default. So we want a random integer between 0 and the total of response we have. -1, actually not sure. We will see. Let me double check that because yeah, no, it's fine. Okay, so we'll use the total number. So this will basically put us, give us a number between 0 and 2000 and basically the available list of item. So do not forget to set that to expression, otherwise it will not work. And yeah, it's also working because we are using those little thing to tell that we are dealing with an array right there. And from that, so this will give us a random ID, and we will use that random ID with the next call. So the endpoint is the same pretty much, but the call is a bit different. Right now we are going to grab the object information with the object value we just got from the set block. So let's get a random one. Actually, let's get one from the list. All right, let's copy that, copy, and let's go right there. So if we test that, we will ask it, Voiceflow will ask for a random ID. And this is the result. So from that response, we got a lot of information. We are not going to use all of those, but the most interesting ones are the primary image, small, additional image, we're not going to use that. And obviously we want, okay, we already know the department because we are using that in the search, but we want the title. So for this one, it's country house near the water. So we want the title, we want the artist display name. So Jean Van Gayen, and also the artist display bio. So Dutch, Leiden, you have the birthday, and I think that's the town. And that's pretty much it. I'm just looking for what we are missing. Medium can be interesting. We are not going to use that, but yeah, that's something we can use, as well as the dimension. We have a lot of other stuff, not always populated, so we are not going to deal with that. And that's it. So in the mapping, we will want to grab the title, and we map that to the title variable. We want to use the artist display name, and we are going to map that to the artist name variable, artist display bio, artist bio, and response primary image small apply to art image. I will explain a bit later why we are using the small instead of primary image. It's more to fix something in the APL. But yeah, right now we are going to use not the high definition picture. Instead, we were going to use the one for the web. So primary image small. And from that, we will then speak out the title, artist name, and load everything in the APL template. So the data for the APL template will be, we will need the title, we will need the name, bio, URL will be the image URL. Delay and fade, that's for the animation. And to understand that, let's go to the APL editor. So here is our template in the APL editor. What we have here is an image, and we are using the new responsive. So that's something you can find here in the Alexa documentation. So responsive component, you have the background. That's a very good one. If you want to have kind of a splash screen, or you can play a video in there, a full screen video. You can put an image in the background. You can even blur the background if you want. So that's an easy way to add like some good stuff to your APL template or APL design. Sadly, and looks like it's on every Tuesday now, but sadly the background is not working. I mean, it's sometimes working. So if you put a background image source, nothing will be will show, which is not the case with the image, and that's why I'm using the image right now. But keep in mind that as soon as the background will be back, you will be able to use the background instead of the image. But the nice thing with the responsive component image is that you can also do a blurred background. So we will have kind of the same effect here. So that's the first responsive component we are going to use. We are also going to use the header. So the header is what you can see right there. You have, let's go back here. You have the title. So that's the main title. Let's dive in here. So as the setting we are using here is the header title, and we are grabbing that from the data source. The subtitle, this is what you have here. So by, as well as the name of the artist. Header attribution is basically the text for that, and the image is the little icon. So you can see that as a alt, and this one is the icon you are seeing here. The last thing you want to do for the header, no, that's it for the header. You don't need to add an ID. This part is the animation, and that's why we are going to need the daily as well as the duration. So those variables are actually delay and fade in Voiceflow, and our data source is set up like this. So again, title will be equal to the title variable in Voiceflow, name, artist name, bio, artist bio, URL, art image, delay will be delay, and fade will be fade. So delay and fade, we are setting that in the beginning of the skill. So fade will be 4,000, which is 4 seconds, and 5,000 for the delay, which is 5 seconds. As you can see right there, the data source is the same, and so that's why you can retrieve that in our data source right there. So when you see title, you will know that will be the Voiceflow variable, or the variable from your Voiceflow project called title, as well as when you see artist name, that will be the artist name variable, for example. What we want to do with the animation is basically, we want to show the image, but we don't want to keep that forever. So what we are going to do is, after 5 seconds, we will fade in or fade out, or never get it, but we'll make that disappear, as well as the bottom stuff we have here. So at the bottom we have the artist name, artist bio, And behind that, we have a frame. So if we go in the visualization, that's how it looks. We have Alexa header. We have a text, which is at the bottom, a frame behind the text. So that's the frame with a black background color, as well as in opacity set to 0.5. Max is 1, min is 0. 0, you will not see anything. So that's like 50% right there. And the again, the Alexa image is what will handle the main picture we will send from the API. The thing we want to I want to share with you is, because we're using the image Alexa image component, so the responsive component, we have some limitation here. And for you to better understand that, let's grab a picture. So let's do that again. Just grab the item ID. And we will keep the requests open so we can grab the data. So let's grab this. Actually, let's grab the primary image, and you will see why I'm now using the image small. So let's copy that and go back right there. So URL, instead of the Voiceflow variable, we will forward that with a static image file. And yeah, so this is what we got. The issue here is, well, it's fine, but I don't really like the fact that we have that to the top and the bottom. I like to have some space in between, but the way the image component is working, at least the responsive one, is if you change the image size, you will also change that for the blur effect. So let me show you. Let's say I want to have some space between the top and the image. I will, for example, put the image height to 80 vertical height. But as you can see, it's not all the bounding box is linked to the image. So it's not going to do like one image and everything outside the image will be blurred. So it doesn't work. The only way to make it work, it's basically by having an image smaller than the screen, and we can do that with the web image, so the lower size image. So let's show you. I'll show you that. So that's the lower size, or yeah, the same picture but with a lower size. And now you can see that it's working, and it's also working because again, the way we are using the image quell, so that's also the trick here. We are using the best fit down, which means that we are not going to resize the picture upper than the actual size. And that's why we have that space on the larger screen, which is fine. But as you can see, as soon as we go to like smaller screen, we will still have that. Again, that's something that will be fixed when the background scene will work. And you know what? Let's give it a try. So background, we want to go, let's use this example. And put that, we'll put that on the top. And let's remove that for now. So now it's working, which is fine. I already have that this morning, but let me just, I'll just save what I've cut right there. Yeah, after some try, it seemed like it's not working. So, but maybe it will. So let's try that again. Yeah. So maybe a past issue. I'm not getting why it's not working with this one. And by the way, if you go back to here and put the one that was working, it doesn't work. So I'm not sure what's happening, but oh yeah, this time it's working for sure. So yeah, again, maybe maybe a format, or yeah, something is not fine in this, but I didn't get why it's loading fine in the image component and not in the background. So yeah, we'll see. No, not working. Okay. So let's stick to the image right now instead of the background thing. It's not a blocking issue, so let's put that back. And yeah, so as for the header right there, we are making a little animation here. Going from 1 to 0 after a delay. And again, the delay is set. We don't need that anymore. It's set right there. So basically, we have a 5-second delay showing the title and all the information for that, and this at the bottom. And after those 5 seconds, we will have a fade that will, the duration of the fade will be equal to whatever you put here. So in that project, that's 4 seconds. So let's try. No, it will not work. We can do a preview, but we will have to put that number. So delay will be 5,000. Fade will be 4,000. So let's give it a try right like this. So we have 5 sec, and then it should fade. Yep, it's fading. So basically, the expected behavior is having the information when the painting is displayed, but after that, we will get rid of all those information and just enjoying the art on the screen. All right. So that's pretty much it, actually. We will still need to polish a bit the project, and but we can already go back there. And as you can see here, we have a prompt. So after the first display, or the first heart has been selected randomly, we'll display that. And if the user said next, or I've created another intent, which has some more painting, another paint, another give me more, another one, we will go back to this block, checking or getting a new random ID, grabbing that ID and using that ID in the next call. And from that, going back to this block, say the title and as well as the artist name, and display the painting. What we still need to do here is handling the any issue here, any error, same here, as well as a good thing to do is, as we are getting a random number, even if it's in a more than 2,000 item list, there some chance that we got twice, or we got the same ID in a row. So we may want to basically save the actual ID and check if the actual ID has the same value as the previous one. And so at least we will not have the same painting in a row, so twice. I mean, with that trick, we can have the same painting twice, but not right after the first time the item has been shown. Not that clear, but I think you got it. So actually, let's do that then. So again, we will need to create a new variable to save the previous random, as well as an if. So let's put that right there for now. Yeah, we can put that here. And yep, here. So what we want to check is if random integer, so the variable, is equal to, and we need to select a variable here and to create one. Previous ID, for example. So create. If it's the same thing, we want to do a random again. All right. Otherwise, we are good to go. So we can basically go right there. The only thing missing here is we need to set the previous to at a certain time. We have to fill that. So, well, let's do that with a simple set block right before we are showing the thing. Previous ID equal, that will be a variable, and that will be random ID. So let's summarize that. Here we are grabbing the random ID, and we are populating the random ID variable. Now we are checking this condition. Is random ID equal previous ID? By default, previous ID will be equal to 0. So the first one will be correct. Will be not equal, so correct for us, but like we will go to the else, do the API call, and show that on the device screen, as well as setting the previous ID to the actual. So let's say we are using the ID 22. ID 22, checking is 22 equal 0? No, it's not. So that's the else. Okay, grabbing 22, the 22 item information, setting previous to the random value, which is 22. So previous is now equal to 22. And we are displaying all this on the screen. If we ask for the next one, we will go there. Random ID will be a new one, 24. And we're checking here. If 24 equal 22, so we're good. It's not equal, so we are good. But if instead of having 24, we got 22 here, so the same as the previous one, we will hit that condition, 22 equal 22. And then we will ask for a new random ID. And yeah, we've just added this little trick to be sure not to have the same heart showed twice in a row. That's it for that part. So let's take care of the failure port for the European painting. So this one will be most likely the API not be available. So you can put whatever you want here, but for this demo, we will say looks like the MET museum is closed for now. Let's try again later. And then we will exit the skill. If total is not, or if total equals 0, basically, we want to also, yeah, that will be the same message. You can use a different one, but yeah, for this demo, this will be good. This one is more. Actually, it will be the same thing. So it should be here, but we may want to add, as we've done right there, we may want to add a condition here to be sure that we at least have some information. And those information will be at least the title, or we need a URL, for example. So let's first check if we can get, that's not the good one. Let's run that again. Let's take this one. I just want to see if we can spot any useful information in the call that will help us to handle a situation where we don't have anything, like status equal error or something like that. Title, object, no. Okay, so we will check for maybe not the object ID. Okay, let's do a call with a non-existent ID, for example, just to see if we have like a different type of response here. Okay, that's what we want. So we want to check that, basically. Message object ID not found. So let's grab that. And we will add that in the mapping. So response message, and let's call that message. Okay, let's do another test. And should be that information. Copy. If so, if message equal object not found, then we have an issue here, and we may want to I'm not a big fan of infinite loop. I know I've already done one here, so we will add another check here. Basically, what we want to do is if object ID not found, we want to do another call with another object ID, but only another time, so only once. As we don't want to do that forever. If for whatever reason the API is not sending us anything, even if the object ID are fine, we want to stop that. We want to be able to handle that situation. So basically, we are doing that, doing once, setting another variable, and if that variable is set to, let's say, 1, for example, then it means we already done another loop, so we want to exit. Let's do this. And by the way, yeah, I haven't seen the message when we got an actual working ID, so I'm not sure. Maybe I missed it, but I'm not sure we have that in the API response. No, it looks like we don't have any message. Nope. Okay. So maybe an easiest way to do this, instead of looking for this, let's just set, before the call, let's just set message to 0. And here, if message equals 0, we're good to go. If not, that's an issue. So success. Again, simply because as we don't have the message value in the response, in case of the response is fine, we are just checking if, in that case, message is not is already set to 0, which means that is not the variable has not been populated. So go there. Otherwise, we are going to set the loop variable or arrow loop, for example, to 1. Okay. Here, going back to the random thing, we will reorder that and add some color after that. But right now, all right. And so if message equals 0, if arrow loop equal 1, we can go to that message. Or, of course, you can do a custom one, a specific one for this. Like, looks like we can't find the painting you are looking for. Try again later. And of course, we will have to set the arrow loop to 0. So arrow loop, set that to 0 when we launch the skill, just to be sure that, again, because the variable value are persistent between the session. If the user has an issue here and it will exit the skill, as it will be redirected to this ending message. If we are not setting that to 0 somewhere, when they will launch the skill again, this error loop will be equal to 0. So if something is wrong, it will go straight there. It will not do the other try. And yeah, I think we're good, actually. Let's try that. So let's do a stop, refresh, and I will have to log in back again. Let's do this on the large. Proceed. Okay. MET.
Vagina visited by Jupiter by Jean-Baptiste Ruse.
So we have the paint, we have the fading. We also have the fade in, yeah, fade out from the picture. So next.
Lady Maitland, Catherine Connor, died 1865
fade.
By Sir Henry Raeburn.
And then this are also disappearing. So we have a nice view of the painting available on the display. That's something you can have in your room or whatever. But I think that can be interesting. And of course, you can add more detail again if it's like the medium the artist use for that, or you can look for only photograph, for example, or a specific period, or a specific artist also, of course. But yeah, that's the main thing.
By Simone Martini.
Maybe another thing to add will be the fade in. Yeah, fade in. Each time we are switching or going for a new paint, the same way we have the fade in for the paint, we should have that also. Yeah, of course, you can also have, still with the animate item, you can do a bit of like a small effect of the painting going in and out very slightly. That's what we've done already for the Momentum project, and it had a nice effect to it. Even more when you have like a blurred background. But for that, we will have to use the background instead of the image. Otherwise, all the thing will zoom in, zoom out. But that's not the parallax effect we want. We want the background to stay still and the image to go back or in the view, to have this little nice effect. Okay, so last thing, let's clean that a bit. The main thing we can do actually is this part is basically all the API call. That, yeah, obviously that can be a flow, for example. But yeah, let's right now, let's just keep that on the main flow. That's something we can add later. But so APL setting, I like to put that in red actually, because I'm using red for two things. Important stuff, so thing we have to set, like those, because we have some setting. We can change the delay as well as the fade, and also for the exit block. So let's do that. And yeah, exit. This, this, and this. That will be blue. I put blue for everything that is like a function, a call, or setting some stuff, doing some basically not really related to the user. This is user. That's the intent. So one, this is the next intent. This one is generating the random, so that will be blue. Randomize. Actually, yeah, that's not really randomized, but okay. That's a check for, so that will be blue. We can combine that. Let's put that right there. This one is the get item info. So let's rename that. And yeah, almost done. Blue, purple. Purple is for whatever we are saying to the user. Green is for what we are getting from the user. Purple is what we are saying to the user. And here we are saying as well as showing some info. So that's the display mainly. Final check. Loop set. And here we go. So yeah, let me check the chat for any question. No question at all. Okay. So that, hopefully that's because it was clear. Thanks, Jesus. So yeah, the most important thing are for this project at least, and the one I can think of is do not forget to take care of any failure, mostly because we are using multiple API call here. That's always a good thing to, I mean, nothing is infallible. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, sometimes things can go wrong. So it's always a good thing to have at least a check here. Otherwise, anyway, the skill will break, and the user will not have any information on what's happening. So that's the worst thing, the worst experience a user can have. So it will be much more easier for a user to understand something like, okay, right now we can't have access to the information. Let's try that later. And they will get it because we are used to that. We are using web app, we are using application, we are using website, and we know that sometimes some stuff doesn't work and we have to wait a bit for that. So instead of not saying anything, we're just telling them to try again later. Same thing here, but again, That's a good thing to check for that failure, and that's also a good thing. So sometime to, okay, let's try that again. Maybe it's just the object ID that is not correct. So let's give it another try. But again, we don't want to do a loop, and instead of just going from the fail to another one. Yeah, for this example, we have more than 2,000 items, which will lead to a timeout, obviously, because basically if something is wrong, we'll do that loop more than 2,000 times. Well, we won't, because Voiceflow will stop that before, but yeah, it will also break the skill. That's why the final check is something you should think of in your design. But yeah, that's it. That's it for today's session. I think yep.
Saint Reparata tortured with red
Let's
hot
finish
irons
that
Bernard
on a piece of art. Thank you guys again. Thank you all, and see you next week.
Thanks so much, Nico. Thanks, everyone.